Alrighty, welcome. This is going to be what if Deku had telekinesis. So let's get into it. So first of all, I want to say, do you guys recommend any video editing software maybe? Because I want for iPhone because I need to edit my videos for the new editing style, and kinemaster has been acting up lately. So, anyways, let's get into the what if. Young man, stand back. I'm launching. All Might said. Wait, what? I have so many questions, Izuku replied. I'm sorry, they'll have to wait. Us pros are constantly fighting time as we're fighting villains. But when All Might blasted off, Izuku grabbed onto his leg, which caused the bottle to fall. After they landed, All Might was scolding Deku for doing that. Young man, that could have gone wrong. Don't do that again. Izuku apologized and said that he had a question. Then he asked, "Can I be my hero of my quirk? Can I be a hero of my quirk? My quirk is villainous." Izuki said this as he looked down. All I could do in battle was make someone float with my telekinesis and then drop them, but even then they would die due to the impact. And I don't want to be a villain. Izuku looked down and started to tear up a bit. All Might said that his hero could be that any quirk could be used like it's not the quirk that makes the person, it's the person that makes the quirk, yeah. So Ezekiel is so happy to hear that he could be a hero. And yeah, and all his happiness kind of faded away once he saw All Might was in his Small Might form. He said, "Wait, are you an imposter or is that a transformation quirk?" Ezekiel said this in a confused tone. All Might said, "He's not an imposter and it's not a transformation quirk." Then he shows the injury and says, "Pretty gross, right? I got this in a fight 5 years back." And Ezekiel asked, "Was it against that villain called Toxic Chainsaw?" And All Might said, "Wow, kid, you know your stuff." But no, that guy wasn't able to put much on me. I tried to keep this fight unknown. It's against a villain called All for One. And he explained his injury. But when they were about to leave the explosion, when they were about to leave, they heard an explosion. Izuku was confused, then thought it was Bakugo those explosions sounded familiar, but they also sounded muffled. So he made himself flow with telekinesis, and then saw that the heroes were not doing anything. This aggravated Izuku, and he made the Sludge Villain float, and took Bakugo out of the sludge and put it near the crowd. Then Deku comes out of nowhere from the sky goes to kick the Sludge Villain. Well, Izuku isn't the strongest in the world, so it wouldn't have done much damage on his own, so he used his telekinesis to pull the Sludge Villain a bit backwards to act as a second impact. And he made a gust of wind out of the telekinesis to make it look like he's strong. He does this because he admires All Might and wants to seem like his punches can make huge gusts of winds. Ezekiel uses the telekinesis on the villain and makes it float, and then kind of just spins it around in the air for a bit, and then throws it to the ground. Ezekiel uses his telekinesis to make steps out of the air and runs off. The heroes are screaming at him for doing that, but he doesn't care considering they didn't do anything. Momo Yaoyorozu was in the crowd and admired Izuku's bravery. When Deku was around a few houses near his house, All Might came out of nowhere. He was in his buff form, but when he landed, he got out of his buff form, and this startled Izuku. All Might told Izuku about One for All and how he wants Deku to inherit it. Izuku agrees to it, not knowing the intense training he would have to go through. Okay, so next week, let's say Deku met All Might at the beach, at Dagobah Beach, oblivious that someone was watching them. So when Deku was trying to pull the fridge, Small Might transformed into All Might, which made Momo gasp, and Deku heard this and used his telekinesis from where the gasp came from because he had a rough idea of where the person could be. And that made Momo come toward them. All Might asked her to please not tell anyone what you saw, and Momo agreed. Deku apologized about using his quirk on her. Don't ask about these Monster Legends notifications. So Deku apologized for using his quirk on her, and she blushes because he's kind of cute, and she says it's okay. And of course, I dropped my phone for a second where I'm reading the script from, and I lost where I was. So sorry. Also, I'm not going to be able to do much of these scripts, considering considering I don't have my computer to write the scripts. So give me a second so I can find where I was. Okay, so Momo asks, why are they here at such an early time? And Deku says, I could ask you the same. Momo says, yeah, you're right. Then Deku pipes up and says, and explains that he's picking up trash to enhance his body and also clean the beach. C asks if she could help because she would like to do some community service. And All Might said only for a bit because Deku has to train his physical body. So C agrees, and let's say half a month passes, and every end of the day, Momo would bring water and some fruits for All Might and Deku after that day of training. Okay, so the next day after a normal day of training, Izuku came back home and saw his dad home. He didn't realize from seeing him until he heard his voice, because they've been talking on the phone. He ran to his dad and hugged him. Also, he got Momo's phone number, so when they were done, he when him and his dad were done talking, he went to his room and told her that his dad finally came home. Also, if I sound like a bit tired or different from a what if I literally made a few minutes ago, it's because I'm officially tired. It is 1:13 a.m. and I need help right now. So yeah. Now, um, she replied with, "What? But that's cool. But on when she texted, she doesn't normally text small paragraphs like this, so he felt something was up, but just brushed it off as she was busy or something." So, but later that dinner, Hisashi, aka Deku's dad, told Deku that he's going to have an arranged marriage with his boss's son. Then Deku heard this and looked sad and just ran to his room because he had a crush on Momo and developed feelings for her. Then he went to his phone and texted Momo and told her about what his dad told him. And he confessed her his feelings. She also told him what about the same thing happened to her, and she also told him about how she felt. They thought it was just a coincidence that they both had an arranged marriage. So that night they both went to the beach and basically sat with each other and started talking about how sad it's going to be and how they're going to miss each other. Before Deku left, Inko and Hisashi saw Deku run out of the house and they tried following him, but quickly lost him because he was really fast. Also, that was the same that happened for Momo's family. So they were talking, so Momo and Deku were talking together for 2 hours, and they lost track of time. So let's say they ended up falling asleep at the beach holding hands. And first of all, I want to say, please recommend some video editing softwares for iPhone. I really want to go back to that other editing style, but KineMaster keeps messing up for me. Okay, so when they woke up, they both saw Momo's dad and Hisashi. Mr. Yaoyorozu says, I see you guys already met each other and they're holding hands. That's romantic. They both looked at them and said, we don't want to leave each other. We just want to be together. Why did you have to arrange a marriage? Momo and Deku both asked this with a shaky tone. And Mr. Yaoyorozu and Hisashi says, oh, you guys don't know? We arranged a marriage. We arranged for both of you to marry each other. They both looked at their parents in confusion, um, and looked at each other and then hugged each other and said, we were worried for nothing. After all, we could be together. Both parents smiled, so Deku and Momo went to their houses and brushed their teeth and did their morning routines. Then they met up and went to get ice cream, and then they went to the beach while waiting for All Might. They're basically just hanging out at the beach, waiting for All Might so they can start his training. So let's say 3 p.m. All Might comes back from hero work, because he can sustain his muscle form for 3 hours. So earlier that day, they were playing at the beach together because let's say a section of it was clean and Momo made these walls to stop dirty water from coming in. So, yeah. So basically they were splashing around in the pool, and All Might came and saw them playing around at the beach, which made him happy seeing them playing. Then they saw him and were ready to train. So they changed back into their civilian clothes and went to the beach and started training. Let's skip to a month and a half. Izuku is saying bye to his parents because now he has to go live at the mansion Momo's parents bought for both of them. So let's flash back to earlier that morning. Izuku walked into his room and started screaming and shouting because everything in his room was gone. And his parents told him that it's at the mansion and that the limo was waiting for him outside. So, end of flashback. So let's go. So he goes outside and sees Momo waiting for him inside the car. And when he enters the car, she holds his hands, making him blush. So they arrive at the mansion, and Deku is amazed by how big it is. And Momo is gently pulling him towards her to get his attention and show him how to enter the house, because there was kind of like a waterfall kind of thing, like secret passage, I guess you could say. Oh my god, I need water, but I don't even know where I put my water. Okay, I guess I can live with it. So when they enter, there's a guide person, and they show them around the house. Also, the Yaoyorozus would be in the house. Then the mom would say, "Sorry." Well, Mrs. Yaoyorozu would say, "Sorry, it's small. We just felt that you children don't need a big mansion yet." Deku comments on how this is not small at all, and it is huge. So once the tour is done, Momo's family leaves, and so does the tour guide person. Also, Deku has been avoided and isolated for most of his life because for some reason his quirk is seen as villainous when it's really not, if you're being honest. So he learned some very important life skills like cooking and cleaning. Please give me a second. I actually really need water. I need it way more than I thought I did. So give me a second and don't mind my squeaky bed. So I'll be taking a water break for like a second. Don't mind me. Much better. Alrighty. Alright, where were we? Oh yeah. So let's skip to the end of the day. So after they were done brushing their teeth, him and Momo, they brushed their teeth earlier at the night, like let's say 8 and it's 9 right now. So Deku, being the genuinely nice person, earlier that day earlier that night, like at 8, they both brushed their teeth and then went to watch a movie. And let's say it was about an hour and 30 minutes. So Momo ended up falling asleep in Izuku's arms, and so he tucked her into bed, and she kind of woke up because she felt like she was moving, and saw that he was tucking her in bed, which made her blush. And uh, after Deku was about to leave and close the lights, he would ask him to sleep with her. And he would blush, so he would close the lights and the door and would sleep with her. And there was a camera in Momo's room. Don't worry, they didn't do anything weird yet. And I say yet for a reason. So, in another episode, I'll probably warn you guys if they do anything. I'll say 18 plus content, even though I'm not 18, but yeah, that's something. And yeah, let's time skip to 6 months into the 10 months. And he would get one for all because he's ready. And let's say he also got a recommendation by All Might. Also, his new limit to picking up items is either 27 huge objects or 10 tons in total. Okay, for the rest of the 4 months, he and All Might and Momo were just socializing and stuff like that. And also training one for all. Ezekiel would invite All Might for lunch at his house because he's a really good cook, and even All Might would agree. And sometimes he would go for patrol with All Might with the permission to use his quirk. Let's say All for One heard about Deku, and once while Deku was alone, walking home after a long day of patrolling, All for One would put his head on Deku's hand, trying to take Deku's quirk. Trying to take Deku's quirk because he could crush people to a pulp from long range, and that would be really useful against All Might. But that's where I'm ending the video, on a cliffhanger. I know you guys probably hate me. Please forgive me, but I just have to do that. So enjoy the video. So bye. Have a good day.